these people are getting, they are, I really believe, a hell of a deal. I think it's a really interesting, different development. I don't know if there's a lot of people that would do it because it's more complicated, but that's kind of what I think is lacking a lot in the housing industry, is the opportunity to buy something that's a little bit different from a developer is pretty rare. You know, big housing development, volume builder development, it's a little difficult to tell whether or not that house was built 20 years ago or it was built yesterday from a style or a design point of view. And there's a reason they do that, of course, is because it's much easier to build the same thing you did 20 years ago. They've already worked out all the kinks. You know, they know how it all works, and which is what we've had to do on this. But the next time we do this, obviously it should be a lot easier for us.
Where do you want to start?
Start over here.
Start over here.
Oh, what else we got there? Should I have like a little cry first? I can't take it anymore. So anyway, welcome back. This is the 5th, 6th.
You love doing an episode number, don't you?
Well, you show an episode number on the thing, don't you?
Yeah, but I've got loads of footage that we haven't done yet.
All right. Welcome to episode. Anyway, back looking at SIPS, looking at Church Farm, and it's very busy on site, as you will see. And let's have a look around, and we can talk a little bit about what's happening. And particularly, I think this time we're going to talk a little bit more about the installation of the SIPS panels, how it all goes together, and we're kind of mid plot 6, as you can tell off in the distance there. So that's good timing.
Cool.
If I just point out kind of what we're looking at here, we've got plot 5, so this is the farthest north on the site. And then we've got plot 4, which is now ready to receive the SIPS structure. And plot 3, they've just got the back half to prepare for the SIPS structure. So you'll see some of these retaining walls are in place, but not the final 2 feet of the retaining wall, because they use basically a much nicer ply to give a better finish on the concrete for the bit that you'll actually see. So that's why when you'll look, and there's basically some steel sticking up of the the retaining wall. That's because it's not 100% finished, but it does allow us to backfill all those sections and try and get rid of some of this crap that we're standing on now. Because we need to run the electrics in, and the electrics, I think, is underneath that stone, where we need to join on. Oh, this will be interesting. Don't film this.
What aren't we filming?
No, guess they've decided against it. We live another day. So anyway, so like I say, plot 4, as soon as they finish plot 6, they're supposed to drop onto either plot 3 or 4. And by that time, we'll finally have all the rest of the concrete completed. Have we been in 5 at all?
We did look in 5 last time.
Okay,
Yeah, is there
right,
anything else happened in there?
Well, no, not really. So what we'll do is we'll pop up and we'll look at 4. We'll walk on top of 4, and we'll talk through that a little bit, and then we'll pop over to 6.
Nice.
Alrighty. Come this way before we have to be witnesses at a legal case. So if we walk on to 4,
So where we
This
stood?
is the link. So this has got glazing on either end. This is the entrance, and then this one's got a sort of a master. Well, 2 bedrooms, but like a master suite and another bathroom and a bedroom on this side, which is a single-story extension. And then obviously it's got this 3-story section here. So you got basement, ground, and first. You can now get a feel kind of for the level that we'll be at when it's finished versus the ground on the other side. So this is their garden essentially, which just is all getting filled in as we speak. And if you look across there, that is what the walls, the concrete walls will look that surround the garden. And then it's got Siberian larch kind of posts that are every 4 inches that will kind of create a bit of screening without it being a solid screen. So yeah, that's basically, this is what it looks like when it's pretty much ready to be scaffolded, and then the SIPS can be put in place.
So is it worth showing us where the SIP's attached to and how they do that here?
Yeah. So basically, in this case, this is a damp, and it's connected to a radon membrane. Now, we didn't really have to do that here. When somebody looks this up for radon, it looks like this site encroaches upon a radon area, but you have to look at more accurate plans to actually know for sure, and it isn't. But I just thought we were better safe than sorry. We go ahead and put the radon barrier in, and then nobody has to worry about it, and they're not questioning whether or not we are or we aren't on it, or we on the edge of it or whatever.
Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. It's one of those substances that it's pretty much impossible to avoid, as it's constantly being produced by other materials in the Earth's crust. And because it's radioactive, it has the potential to cause lung cancer if you inhale it at high levels for long enough. Apparently
radon's really bad for you. It's like, I don't know, like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day or something horrible like that. And there are pockets of it. There's pockets in Harrogate. There's pockets. And you basically have to look on this map and find out whether you're in that pocket. But anyway, long story short, that's what we're doing. That's why you've got this quite thick material. So that gets pulled tight. They've got a base plate that they fix down through this. They've got another membrane attached to the bottom side of it, of their plate, and then they attach their SIPS to the plate. But it will be easier to see when we go over there. Right, so we're talking plot 6. Actually, we'll go down this side first, and I'll just show you something on plot 2. So the glazed screen is in for plot 2, and a lot of the other windows as well. But because the weather's been so bad, we haven't been able to really do very little building work on plot 2, or any outside. They've been doing internal staircases and some block walls and various things like that on the other plots to stay in front of the SIPS guys. So we haven't done much on plot 2, which is unfortunate. But next week, weather permitting, they'll crack on with that, which will allow them to fit the rest of the windows in that plot. Get the roof trusses on, which we desperately need to do. But anyway, so let's go into plot 6. So you can see the base plate that they put down on all the load-bearing walls and all the external walls. So the external walls, that's the timber is roughly 142, which is the size of the panel. And they'll have little drawings like this, and that just kind of tells them what goes where and what to put where. So these are insulated SIPS panels, and these are just load-bearing walls. The load-bearing walls can be made up of one side of OSB, 2 sides of OSB, depending on what kind of loadings they're taking. So here's an even bigger one, obviously bigger timber. I don't know whether there's anything that gets OSB on the other side. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But so anyway, basically they're just getting ready now to, you see there's a drop in the inside walls from the outer walls, and that's just where they're going to be running the joists. And then the decking actually runs across the lower level, it runs to the outside of the SIP. I guess that just gives it some more sort of strength across the whole structure.
So the pieces just sort of jigsaw onto the plate at the bottom?
Yep, they just sit, they don't even sit over the plate, they just sit down onto the plate, so you can still see the plate there. It then gets, well, not this wall because this is internal, but the external walls, they get wrapped with this really heavy duty rain screen membrane, which is that black stuff you see everywhere. And then we do a special taping detail using the Sika Give Love product to basically tape down onto the concrete plinth. I see somebody's whacked the hell out of the concrete plinth, so that'll have to be repaired. And I see somebody scrape the shit out of that one as well. Let's go before I see anything else. Okay, so this is a good example where you can see that basically they've got this piece, which is kind of fills the end of the panel, insulated panel, and it goes down over the top of this piece here, and then they'll fix it. And that's, but again, this is an internal panel, but actually, because this is an external wall when you get up to the first floor, it probably is an insulated panel down here as well, just because there's no point in changing. Then obviously you can see the size of some of the glue lambs. We talked about this at their factory, but you can see it's just multiple pieces of timber that are laminated, heat laminated together. And of course that's better than using steel. It's horrible. It's better to use timber, obviously, because there's less of a less cold bridging. Obviously, we used a piece of steel. We would have to clad it, insulate it, and all that kind of stuff. So, Rob, you started here on Monday, didn't you? Yeah. So a week, and they've got most of the ground floor perimeter in place. So another week they'll have the first floor and probably the next little strip, and they might, I don't know, they might be able to get the roof on back into sort of 2 weeks from now. And then that's another one down. Then we've just got 2 left. But yeah, it's just crazy at the moment because we have to have all of their materials here on site. Obviously, you've got scaffolding, piles of dirt everywhere. I think with a lot of SIPs, it's putting the structure up is, you've got a good team to do that, and they'll do a good job of that. But then it's all the little detail stuff that you've got to do afterwards. How you make sure that the membrane detail is correct and everything is sealed properly for air loss.
Should we get away from the radio?
Oh yeah,
you tell us that.
Actually, I want to go. Can we go down this way?
Yeah.
So there's a corner window here. And I was wondering what that was going to be like. It'd be nice. So this is outside of their private area, but it'll all be landscaped. So yeah, that's going to be nice.
What were you saying over there about the detail and getting all that?
There's a lot of detailing afterwards that is really essential, which is stuff that we have to do. I mean, they put the membrane on as well, but we've got to make sure that it's lapped correctly, that it's sealed correctly, so that we don't have any air loss, we don't have any water penetration, and it's all those things that are crucial. I was watching another guy, Matt Reisner. Is it Reiser? Reisinger, that's it. Yeah. I was watching, and he was doing a video on sort of 3 different types SIPs, like traditional framing, and then I can't remember what the other one was called, but it's basically an insulated form that's got an insulation on the inside and outside, and you pour concrete into it.
So I have some personal experiences to share with you, as well as some pros and cons for each one of these. Well, let's get going.
But anyway, he was saying that was one of the things that he touched on, was the importance of kind of the detailing of SIPS. Not that it was a negative thing, but obviously it's just essential. You know, if you're building a block and it's very solid, there's very few joints. Well, there's a lot of joints in here, so you've got to make sure it's right. But so far, you know, we've had some pretty bad weather, and we haven't noticed anything in any of the other houses, so I think it's actually worked quite well. So, yeah, we'll walk around the other ones and see what's going on there. You pouring that on Monday? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sweet. That turned out real nice, that one. Down there. That's how I get treated.
Ooh.
What?
Pretty.
You've seen this, haven't you?
I haven't seen it with all the scaffold off.
Some interesting things on the Siberian Larch. You can kind of see where the scaffolding was up, and we're going to have to clean some of that. We've got to finish this before we've got to finish the rest of it before the rest of it colors down, because obviously then you're going to have two different colors. But some of it developed some little black dots in it, but basically that's because it had been so wet and the scaffolding was there. It was kind of inhibiting it drying out. It's kind of like a mold or a fungus, but it only normally goes to sapwood. That's why there's only one side of the board that you use to the outside, because the inside is the sapwood. And the moisture's got to be above 20% for this sort of fungus to even grow. I've learned a lot about Siberian Larch in the last few weeks. So there's some areas that there's a cleaning product that we can use that'll get rid of these sort of dirty lines. Now eventually that would all come good anyway, but we want to clean those areas so that if we leave it any longer and you clean it, then there is going to be a discoloration between the areas. But yeah, I'm pleased with the way it turned out. And actually, let's go. I'll show you what we go around back here. You can see they're just preparing this sort of inner wall, which is going to stick out of the ground about 2 feet. And then it's going to have, again, the Siberian larches attached to the outside. So it's creating kind of an inner garden. And then there's this outside space, which is something the planners wanted. It's more of a gradual transition to the countryside, the open countryside.
So what are we stood on at the moment? What's this going to be?
Well, it's still their ground, so there's a fence which will run down here. So it's still their land, but they're restricted from doing certain things on this sort of open area. So they can't put up a windy house, they can't put a trampoline in here, they can't do all that kind of stuff. That's what their little private garden area is for. That's what the walled garden is for. So they can do what they want in there, but out here they can use it, can mill around and, I don't know, kick the ball around with their kids or whatever, but they can't put up permanent structures. It's a planning requirement, but it's also something that we kind of felt strongly about because well, particularly if we go this way, I'll show you. There are no openings in the big glazed screen because we didn't want them to be able to come out from there out into this space. And the reason why is if we're standing here now and you're looking back across plot 7, so it makes that not very private for them. Whereas if they're in their private space, and if we go around to plot 9's private space, none of them can see each other. They can't see each other from this private space. So that's the whole idea. And they've got access from the side, from the big glazed room, the living, dining, kitchen area. That's what we would do. So we're just trying to encourage them to use spaces in certain ways. Just controlling a little bit about how you use it so that it works for everybody, really. Again, if we gave the people the opportunity to put a kid's playhouse up here, well, that's plot 7 is going to be looking at that now. So that's what we don't want to do. We had some good feedback recently from the videos.
Really?
So shout out to James Fulton. Shout out to Lauren, and I don't think she gave me your last name. Maybe she did. They're both developers who are interested in using SIPS and potentially some of the other stuff that we've used, Siberian Larch, roofing,
Oh,
So they're going to be coming out to site probably the next few weeks, just having a look at what we're doing. So hopefully, you know, it's been beneficial to people. It's been helpful. And then obviously if they come to site, I can show them a lot more in detail. So, I mean, I wish I had something like this so that somebody could have told me, ah, yeah, you don't want to do that. You know, that's going to be a pain in the butt or whatever. Or simply, you know, like if we go over here, let me just show you this one little thing. So if you can see, there's a gutter end plate detail where the triple velexes are. So there's a vertical velix and then two going up the slope of the roof. And that's something that the joiners just came up with on their own, but it was sort of a trial and error. How is it going to look right? You know, we didn't want to see much of it because you don't really see the ends of any, you know, gutters or anything like that. But there was no way to seal it properly to the velix flashing and the gutter and everything else. So it's stuff like that where we could essentially say, yeah, we can show up, we could do this whole roof for you and make it look like this, and we don't have to go through 6 weeks of, you know, discussing how we're going to overcome this detail, how we're going to overcome this. So
you're breaking ground.
Yes.
Have you patented it?
Did it? No.
No. Haven't got time. Yeah, I knew that was the answer.
Yeah. Right, that's it. That's finishes up this episode. And if you like what you see, subscribe. Click the lick button.
The lick button.
That's a different website. The like button, and yeah, tune in next time.
How about if you've got a question?
Well, yeah, obviously leave a comment or call me. You know, I'm not busy. Yeah, by all means, get in touch. I do try and reply to everybody, so if you got any questions, but I don't mind a phone call either. I'm sure you can look up Fountainhead Ventures. You can see some of the other stuff we've done as well, but for these purposes, obviously, I look forward to showing you what we're doing next time.
Bye-bye.
See you later. That's our wrap-up for today, isn't it? If you like what you see,
louder, more positive. Come on, get into it, Andrew. Come on, perform for me. You're a child actor, weren't you?
Well, yes, I was.